Let's talk instead about Meghan Markle. We said we would. We have to. Duncan Larkham is here, former royal editor, of course, author of Prince Harry, The Inside Story. Duncan, it seems like only yesterday I saw you.
Hi, Mike. Yeah, I noticed we're both wearing the same clothes as last night, darling.
Actually, not true. Absolute slur That's a slur on my character. We were on, for those of you who didn't see it, we were on with Jeremy Kyle on the Piers Morgan Uncensored show, talking, of course, about Princess Diana. But this morning, all the papers are absolutely literally full, and people have said to me, you know, it is the 25th anniversary of Princess Diana's death. Meghan Markle sort of somehow managed to kibosh that, push it out of the way, and do this massive interview with an American magazine, which is, even for her, sort of laughably deluded, isn't it?
Well, I mean, this is an insight into the world of Meghan Markle, and yeah, even trying to be very subjective, trying to be, you know, let's see what she's got to say, let's listen to her. It still is evident that she comes from a different planet from the rest of us. I mean, she sees herself quite clearly as more important than the Queen and the royal family. And I'm not saying she's not important, but her claims that she's a victim of it. Mike, there was some actual more worrying aspects of this 6,000-word piece in The Cut magazine that's been published. More worrying is that Meghan was actually described by this so-called journalist that wrote it as a princess. I think at least 3 times. She's not a princess. And so it really worries me that people are accepting that Meghan is right and everyone else is wrong if they get access to her as a journalist and they have to kind of cope. If someone's critical, they won't get in the door of that lovely big Montecito mansion.
No, this is the old sort of Vanity Fair style hagiography journalism, isn't it? Where, you know, the big studios would only let you interview the big stars as long as they could vet the copy, know what the questions were going to be. I mean, there's one section in it, and I have to say I couldn't read through the whole thing because it was just sort of vomit-inducing for me. But where she says, at one point, Meghan's kind of making little noises, and she then tells me how I should record that and how I should write down, at this point, Meghan is making some gurgling sounds, you know, as if she's dictating what you should write about her. And then, laughably, probably the most ridiculous thing, that she claims she was told by some cast member of The Lion King that her wedding was like the Nelson Mandela freedom moment. I mean, really? Really?
I don't know what to say. Look, I'm here speaking to you as somebody that worked as a royal journalist. You know, we take criticisms. There was lots of criticisms yet again from Meghan in there. But it's just quite frightening to have such an insight into her off the back of, let's not forget, her first long-awaited podcast, which is supposed to have been paid £18 million for, episode 1, the week of the 25th anniversary of Diana's death. It's beginning to look really rather obvious. Yeah. This is all about Meghan.
It really is. And some of the poses, the other thing that got me was the description of how they managed to find their dream house, a $14.5 million, mansion, for want of a better word, lovingly described by the writer of the piece as a cross between a sort of Beverly Hills boho club and some kind of, I don't know, Arizona ranch or something. Just horrendous. And then she goes, but we couldn't afford it until we had real jobs. I mean, does she realise that people are not able to actually turn the heating on?
No, precisely. Look at the context. I mean, my goodness. And then when she sat in that incredible Montecito mansion, what's the first thing she starts to do? Is to play the victim and talk about how she was forced to go there, forced to sell all the family silver and use the royal brand to line her own nest. But what really worried me, Mike, was the cameo role from Harry, because that's now the 4th time that when Meghan's been doing an interview or something television-wise, Prince Harry's just happened to, just popped in, did it with Serena Williams, did it, if you remember, when Meghan launched her 40/40 charity. He was juggling at the window. I mean, come on, Harry, where's your self-respect, man?
I know.
He's just turning into a zombie.
He just does what he's told now, doesn't he? I mean, you can see it in his face.
It looks like it. It looks like it, yeah. But, who knows? Meghan's coming to England, so next week or so is going to be very interesting to see what more she can say. Now she's back in that cauldron they tried so hard to escape.
And the big story, of course, on the front of the Sun this morning, the one about the father, he's lost his father. Almost immediately that line came out, old Omid Scobie, you know, that man on the inside, who apparently is her best friend in the media, says that's not what she meant.
It's like a lot of things, a lot of parts of the Oprah stuff. It's comment, but it's not clear what she actually means. Is she saying Harry said to her he lost his father? In which case, a journalist worth any salt would presumably, Mike, ask it. And what do you mean by that, Meghan? Do you mean, what did Harry mean by that comment? There's no follow-up, so it just hangs in the air. And there's also a reference in there by the writer, which is worrying, that it is a given that the royal family has racist elements. But that isn't a given.
No.
That is a claim that Meghan has made, and it has not been substantiated with a shred of evidence.
But Meghan has also said, post the Oprah interview, that some of the things she said were her feelings rather than the facts. So she has also admitted already that she's been rather, shall we say, getting the embroidery needle out to rewrite history. The other thing is the picture that they've used on the cover of the magazine. She's wearing a very similar outfit to one Diana wore, and that was pointed out by quite a few people. You know, the black sort of turtleneck, slightly different earrings, but a very similar look.
Well, I mean, Harry and Meghan have talked about carrying on Diana's legacy. And that being what motivates them. But she is really scathing as well of the British royal family, which is odd when you think that in a week's time she's going to be in Manchester. You know, why suddenly stir up a hornet's nest when you're coming over to England? Why not just quietly arrive, do what you've got to do, and return to California? No, this is an attempt by Meghan to start a new offensive in the war she has had with Harry against the royal family. This is round 2. Here we come. And there are 10 more of her podcasts to come. And it looks, if anything, of the first ones to go by, there's only one subject for discussion, and that is Meghan.
Yes. Well, with a bit of luck, it would take 10 years to get 10 out of her, because it's taken about 2 years to get the first one. So we shall see. Well, Duncan, listen, good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Duncan Larkham, there, former royal editor, author of Prince Harry, The Inside Story. I mean, it just is ridiculous. I know that there will be those of you listening going, please don't talk about her. It just goes on and on and on. But it is dreadful, isn't it?